or vibrating mode. We welcome all the esteemed dignitaries on the dais, and can we have a very big round of applause one more time for all the esteemed dignitaries? We welcome on dais Mr. Varun Khaitan, Urban Company, Mr. Anil Sharma, TCS, Ms. Sonia Swaroop Choksi, Match My Talent, Ms. Ghazal Alag, Mama Earth, Mr. Rohan Verma, Map My India, Mr. Srinath Ramkrishnan, Zetwork, Ms. Divya Shetty, Circle X. We request them to kindly take up their seats on the dais, please. Mr. Varun Khaitan from Urban Company, kindly step on the dais, please. We now wish to welcome all our esteemed dignitaries on the dais with floral bouquet. Foremost, I request Shri Alkesh Kumar Sharma, Secretary Mighty, to present the bouquet to Shri Ashwini Vaishnav, Honorable Union Minister of Railways, Communication, Electronics and IT. Thank you. I now request Shri Alkesh Kumar Sharma, Secretary Mighty, to present the bouquet to Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Honorable Minister of State to Skills Development and Entrepreneurship and Electronics and IT. Thank you so much, sir. I now request Shri Bhuvnesh Kumar, Joint Secretary Mighty, to present the bouquet to Shri Alkesh Kumar Sharma, Secretary Mighty. We'll request Shri Bhuvnesh Kumar to present the memento, the floral bouquet to Mr. Varun Khaitan, Urban Company. I now request Shri Bhuvnesh Kumar to present the Bouquet to Mr. Anil Sharma, TCS. Will request Shri Bhuvnesh Kumar to kindly welcome Miss Sonia Swarup Choksi, Match My Talent. Thank you, sir. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar, DG STPI, to welcome Miss Ghazal Alag, Mama Earth. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar to kindly present the bouquet to Rohan Verma, Map My India. Thank you. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar to welcome Mr. Srinath Ramkrishnan from Zetwork. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar to welcome Ms. Divya Shetty, Circle X. We welcome each one of you with an open heart and warm welcome words. अब मैं श्री भुवनेश कुमार जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी माइटी से नम्र निवेदन करूंगी कि वे स्वागत उद्बोधन दें।
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के विजन के अनुरूप देश में स्टार्टअप संस्कृति के विकास को और अधिक गति प्रदान करने के उद्देश्य से डिजिटल इंडिया वीक 2022 के दौरान आयोजित एक्सेलरेटिंग स्टार्टअप इकोनॉमी कॉन्फ्रेंस के आज के इस अवसर पर मंच पर विराजमान परम आदरणीय श्री अश्विनी वैष्णव जी, माननीय केंद्रीय मंत्री रेलवे, संचार, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एवं सूचना प्रौद्योगिकी का मैं हार्दिक अभिनंदन एवं स्वागत करता हूं। आज का ये अवसर उनकी प्रेरणा से हम सब लोगों के लिए सुलभ हो सका है। मैं स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं मंचासीन सम्माननीय श्री राजीव चंद्रशेखर जी, माननीय केंद्रीय राज्य मंत्री कौशल विकास एवं उद्यमशीलता तथा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एवं सूचना प्रौद्योगिकी का, जिनके मार्गदर्शन में पूरे कार्यक्रम की रूपरेखा तैयार करके यह कार्यक्रम संपन्न किया जा रहा है। स्वागत है आदरणीय श्री अल्केश कुमार शर्मा जी, सचिव भारत सरकार इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एवं सूचना प्रौद्योगिकी मंत्रालय का, जो इस पूरी श्रृंखला के सूत्रधार हैं। नई पीढ़ी को प्रेरित करने के लिए सफल व्यक्तित्व के उदाहरण से बड़ा कोई और प्रमाण नहीं हो सकता। आज हमारे बीच में ऐसी कई शख्सियत मौजूद हैं। मंचासीन मामा अर्थ की सुश्री गजल अलग, मैच माई टैलेंट की सुश्री सोनिया स्वरूप चौकसी, सर्कल एक्स की सुश्री दिव्या शेट्टी, अर्बन कंपनी के श्री वरुण खेतान, मैप माई इंडिया के श्री रोहन वर्मा, जेटवर्क के श्री श्रीनाथ रामकृष्णन एवं टीसीएस के श्री अनिल शर्मा का भी मैं हार्दिक स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं। पूरे दिन की इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में उद्घाटन सत्र के पश्चात टेक्निकल सेशन होंगे, जिनके विषय इस प्रकार हैं: इंडियाज वाइब्रेंट स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम कंटिन्यूइंग इट्स ग्रोथ। दूसरा सेशन होगा बिल्डिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज फॉर इंडिया एंड वर्ल्ड। तीसरा सेशन होगा कैटलाइजिंग स्टार्टअप इकोनॉमी इन टीयर 2 एंड टीयर 3 सिटीज। इनके अतिरिक्त कॉर्पोरेट प्रोग्राम रिकॉग्निशन और वैलिडिक्टरी सेशंस होंगे। आप सबसे अनुरोध है, कृपया दिन भर के कार्यक्रमों में प्रतिभाग करने का कष्ट करें। इन सभी सत्रों में अपने विचार व्यक्त करने के लिए, स्टार्टअप्स का मार्गदर्शन करने के लिए बहुत सारे महानुभाव पधारे हैं। मैं सबके अलग अलग नाम नहीं ले पा रहा हूं समय को देखते हुए, लेकिन मैं उन सभी महानुभावों का हार्दिक स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं। यहाँ उपस्थित देश के विभिन्न क्षेत्रों से आए हुए स्टार्टअप्स, इनोवेटर्स, इंक्यूबेटर्स, एक्सेलरेटर्स, आईटी सेक्टर के उद्यमीगण, साथी अधिकारियों एवं उपस्थित सभी देवियों और सज्जनों का मैं हृदय से बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं। मुझे आशा ही नहीं अपितु पूर्ण विश्वास है कि आज का ये आयोजन अपने उद्देश्य में सार्थक सिद्ध होगा। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
आपके उष्मापूर्ण स्वागत शब्दों के लिए आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। I now humbly request all the esteemed dignitaries to step forward for the lamp lighting and seek the blessings of Almighty.
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर्परब्रह्म दीपज्योतिर्जनार्दनः
May God shower his bestest blessings on everyone. Thank you, everyone. I now request Shri Alkesh Kumar Sharma, Secretary Mighty, to address the august audience over here.
Good morning, Honorable Minister for Electronics and IT, Communication and Railways, Ashwini Vaishnav, sir. Honorable Minister of State, IT, Electronics and Skill Development, Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji. Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, a gallantry of eminent startup leaders, technology leaders, upcoming startup entrepreneurs, and the young youth of India, which is ready and willing to unleash their potential to become new generation entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a matter of great privilege and pleasure for me to be here this morning. In this important occasion, we have been able to mobilize about 1,500 odd startup and willing to get into startup business. This is really a good occasion for all of us. We also have the leaders who have done quite well in this sector, and they will be sharing their experiences, how they took this roadmap. They will also share not only the good things about setting up a startup and a new entrepreneur enterprises, but they will also be sharing with you the difficulties and the challenges, which is more important. I think that gives a lot more learning to us. As we know, digitization is one of the most important driving forces of economic competition, national development, and social well-being. Buoyed by the initiatives of Digital India, the digital explosion unleashed across India over the last few years, and it has brought in unprecedented opportunities and has redefined the contour of business in India. Driving by exponential proliferation of smartphones, cheap data, as somebody mentioned in the Digital India film yesterday, that the data is cheaper than a piece of chart. So that shows that this has actually taken up the Indian startup and entrepreneurial ventures up towards a growth trajectory. India has become the third largest startup ecosystem in the world with more than 70,000 startups, 103 unicorns, and the total valuation is more than 335 billion US dollars. Notwithstanding the raging global pandemic because of what is happening in the world today, in spite of that, the startup and the entrepreneurial ecosystem in this country, in India, has shown an exceptional maturity and willingness to go beyond the norms. In fact, if you look at the last year, 2021, it was a watershed year in the Indian startup ecosystem. We saw the birth of 44 new unicorns, which is an achievement by itself. And if you look at some of the highlights of the last year, we have started 2,250 new tech startups started, they were founded, and the total base of technology startups has gone to 26,000 now. We have these 44 new unicorns. The funding was about $25 billion, which is 3 times than it was there in the previous year. If you look at the ecosystem is also becoming more inclusive and diverse. I think that's something very important. If you look at 29% of the tech startups, they have been outside the established startup hubs. When we talk about startup hubs, we always keep in mind a couple of cities in India. But 29% of them have come from not, they are not run of the mill, they are people who have come off the beaten track. 10 to 15% of these startups have at least one woman founder or a co-founder. So equality, egalitarian society, women's equal rights, I think this is something which is breaking all barriers. They are all equal and they are doing better in many fields. 48% of the startups are building solutions for India and in India. The depth has also gone up substantially. We have BSFI accounts for 13 unicorns, 35 potential unicorns, and 25% of the investment that came in India in 2021. 35% of these investment went into retail technology, education technology, food tech, and logistics. Significant uptick is also happening in agri-tech, automotive, special platforms, industrial, logistics, and manufacturing. I think that's a big, big achievement. Halfway through 2022, we have seen addition of 17 unicorns with a total valuation of over 22 billion US dollars. In spite of the slowdown in global markets, India has been fast expanding the startup ecosystem, and it will add more than 120 unicorns in the next 2 to 3 years. And most of these new startups have taken up the task of solving problems ranging from governance to education, agriculture to healthcare, logistics to manufacturing, MSMEs. Anything you talk about. Even yesterday, Prime Minister had met a couple of young girls, and they are finding solutions in the field of cerebral palsy, soil conditions, even building, health tracker, bodybuilding, and all that is happening. So there are a lot of cutting edge technologies which are helping in developing these kinds of things. METI has initiated a lot of new initiatives which I'll not talk about, but what Honorable Prime Minister has launched yesterday was Digital India Genesis. And this is an end-to-end ecosystem. It will scale up pan-India for impacting and consolidating more than 10,000 startups in next 5 years. Genesis platform will result in better synergy and effective integration of all assets, programs, and initiatives of METI. It will reduce overlapping of functions, proliferation of seed funding, and introduction of corporate pilot programs, along with creating funding opportunities for inclusive development of technology startup ecosystem in India. I think it is a fact that startups have long gestation period. They have much more challenges and, of course, a lot of difficulties. But so product development takes some time. However, in India, the fast-growing startup companies across the nation are disrupting and reshaping industry, ranging from retail and healthcare to defense and education. And that shows that there is an enabling ecosystem which is building up, which is developing. Government has been proactively supporting the system. We are acting as a facilitator, we are enabler, and if there is anything that you need to do, you can reach out to any one of us at any time. Despite little experience and frugal resources, many of these startups are reimagining the future by using technology to solve problems and create innovative products and services. High growth entrepreneurship flourishes best in the context of supporting ecosystem where network and skill talent, mentors, incubators, partners, knowledge, and capital thrive. Recognizing this, METI is sparing no effort to make way for a healthy tech ecosystem. In the week-long event, startup will get an opportunity to have one-to-one sessions gather personal insight from the leaders of the vertical which are here, chance to foster partnership with some of them, understand how to navigate challenges and the intricacies of scaling up in this growing market. Let's aim to continue building up the positive momentum and ideas evident throughout the event. To conclude, I would like to congratulate Meti startup team for organizing this conference. We have a galaxy of eminent leaders. We are all willing to listen to you and ready to learn from you. I'm sure at the end of the day, we'll go with a lot of positive thoughts and a couple of new startups will emerge in the coming months. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your important and informative address. We appreciate it. I now welcome Mr. Srinath Ramkrishnan from Zedwork to share his thoughts with us. Over to you, sir.
Honorable Union Minister Rajiv ji, Honorable Union Minister Ashwini ji, Meti Secretary Alkesh ji, fellow dignitaries, fellow panelists, a very good morning to all of you. Pleasure being here. Thank you, first of all, sir, for inviting us for this amazing event. Yesterday, it was I was very fortunate to personally sit and witness the very passionate speech of our Honorable Prime Minister, to see the significant momentum that we are experiencing in digital India today. Uh, there were about 6 very important, fundamentally important initiatives that were unveiled yesterday. And this very ambitious plan of a $1 trillion digital economy was talked about with great passion. I was taking a lot of pride to just coexist, to just exist in this golden period. So my name is Srinath. I represent this company called Zedwork. We come from Bangalore. We are a B2B manufacturing company. We started this company in 2018. In 2017-18, a lot of startups were in consumer internet, B2C e-commerce, food delivery in a lot of these places. But we saw there were very few new age companies impacting the very traditional sectors of manufacturing and infrastructure. And that is where we exist today. What we do, what our company does, is we aggregate capacities that are abundantly available across the MSME ecosystem today, across the length and breadth of the country, in very traditional sectors like capital goods. Today we do metal fabrication, CNC machining. Yesterday there was a lot of there's a lot of talk about 3D printing, additive manufacturing. So we touch all these very traditional sectors, and the modus operandi is how do we collaborate and leverage the abundant capacities that already exist in our country and take it global, right? So we started building in India for India. Today I'm happy to share that we are building in India for the world. In the last financial year, 25% of our revenue comes from outside India. More than 250 enterprise customers who were outsourcing manufacturing to neighboring countries today are giving manufacturing to Indian MSMEs, right? So this is real GDP. This is real manufacturing GDP that is being added to our economy. And all of this could happen primarily, a lot of things I would really attribute it to timing. The last 8-10 years has been just fabulous. And the morning we were having a conversation with the ministers, and I was very, very happy when sir said we are at the cusp of a massive expansion, right? This is still the beginning. And today there are 70,000 plus startups that already exist, And there are a lot of startups coming in today from tier 2, tier 3 companies. The quality of company building that is happening in our country today is exceptional. The ecosystems that have evolved, not just around investments. We see the fancy thing about 40 unicorns in 1 year and all of that, but beyond that, there is a very, very solid ecosystem that is in place today, and it is growing, right? A lot of very traditional players and industry is taking a serious look at the new age companies, right? So it is not just even the banks, right? Today, there is risk capital that is of course required, but of course there is also a support of the banking system, the financial institution system, right, that is required. uh, Even traditional companies today are recognizing new age companies come and participate in government projects, in tenders, right? So there is a lot of still long way to go, but I see this as a beginning of a new coexistence of the new economy and the old economy or the existing economy. And I'm very excited about what is to come in this decade. This decade is definitely going to be a decade, as was mentioned yesterday. I really like that word, and we are really happy and looking forward to co-create a lot of impact. And I see a lot of intent by MeitY, by the ministries, and we are here. Please do let us know, sir, how we can actively collaborate, engage in dialogue, engage in conversation, and see how we can create significant progress over the next 10 years. Thank you so much for inviting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable address. I now request Shri Anil Sharma from TCS to kindly address the august audience. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. I hope everybody had breakfast. Right? I think thanks a lot for having me here. I think respected ministers, Rajeev ji, Ashwini ji, we had a good interaction in the morning. I think you had some kind words for TCS. Right? We'll keep that in mind. But on the behalf of TCS, I would like to appreciate the government of India's effort to really create a digital economy. Right? It is not only what it's touching tier 1, but it is also touching tier 2, tier 3 cities. And I think this has been done through significant platforms which country has created, such as the Digital India, Startup India, the UPI platform, the Aadhaar platform. And I think combinatorial effect of these really create opportunity in the country. See, from our side, we have been very happy and very fortunate to contribute to several of Government India digital programs, such as the Passport Seva Kendra. I think I personally have been very happy about the contribution we made in the Ayushman Bharat digitization platform, which is one of the largest healthcare platform in the world, right, covering 120 million people. I think one of the recent announcement which was done by the National Mission of Cyber Physical Systems, which is to create 25 technology hubs in the country. It solves the key challenges of how you translate science and tech from academia to industry. So I think we are very excited about that initiative. We are contributing heavily. We have many of our senior people participating as board members, so that we could really shape and contribute to initiatives where we could translate science to innovation. I think all the other side, in terms of platforms, we created, I think you may all be aware, there is an initiative called TCS Ion. We also run India's largest testing platform for NTA. Right? So most of the exams which conduct are done very securely at scale, unprecedented scale in the country today. It's an initiative which was started as an internal entrepreneurship initiative in the country, in the company, and it came out very successfully. See, on the other hand, we've been very active through the TCS CSR and Foundation in a program called TCS Empowers. And the whole objective here was providing people and communities with opportunities in digital economy. and building equitable, inclusive pathway for women, youth, and marginalized group. So we have a program called Bridge IT. It is serving 2,000 villages in the country and creating digital entrepreneurs. So these are simple programs. We're taking youth, village entrepreneurs, training them on digital services so that they can provide digital services to their communities. Youth empowerment is again a program which what we're doing is going to rural colleges, both engineering and non-engineering, training them to be employable in IIT and BPO sectors. Almost 30,000 rural youth in that way who typically would not have that opportunity are now employed in several companies. Ignite My Future is another program where we are empowering teachers, 30,000 teachers in state of Tamil Nadu, to train them on computational thinking. And with them, they have covered almost 1.78 million students between them. I think one initiative which I run directly is called Digital Impact Square. I think the whole journey started with Nasik Kumbh. So what Nasik Kumbh did was there was a mass momentum in the city of Nasik with the local administration being there, central government being there, MIT from US, TCS came together to see whether we could provide digital solutions to problem being faced in Nasik Kumbh. That initiative was so successful that we decided to fund a social incubator in the city of Nasik. So happy to tell you that what we have done today is we give opportunity to student innovators from 55 colleges, right? Both from engineering, design, and business schools. So we give them hard problems worth solving. Almost 400 such innovators have gone through the program in last 6 years, and we now have 14 startups which are doing very well and scaling through other incubation acceleration programs. I think the fact that India would be the fastest digital economy globally, TCS is very excited about the opportunities to contribute in this ecosystem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable inputs. I now request the address by Mr. Rohan Verma, Map My India. We welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'd first like to say that it's my privilege and pride to say that it truly is this government, under our Honorable Prime Minister, under our Union Minister and Minister of State and Secretary for MeitY, that is catapulting India into the digital age, that is not apologetic, that is not subservient, that has a vision, and that has the, I would say, commitment to make sure that India leapfrogs itself to the forefront of the digital economy, making our economy and our nation truly the best in the world. And for that, from the bottom of our heart at Map My India, I'd like to say thank you. The story of Map My India is, in a sense, intertwined with Digital India. We were founded 27 years ago by my parents, two engineers from IIT Roorkee and BITS Pilani, who had this crazy idea in 1995 to digitally map India. Remember, at that time, no digital maps for India existed. It was paper maps that were created by the British during the British time 60, 70 years ago. But they had the conviction that someday 80% of all data would have a location component to it, and digital maps could be the underlying infrastructure on which infinite use cases could be created to benefit the country, citizens, businesses, and governments. So while people call them crazy, they went about building a business. Now, last year, the government of India also opened up our sector, the geospatial sector. Honorable Prime Minister himself announced it. And this enabled Map My India also to go public in the Indian stock exchanges in December 2021 with a 155 times subscription to our IPO. People still call us crazy because we're also taking on the global giant behemoth in trying to be the mapping platform and the map app for the country. in face of obviously somebody who owns 99% of the OS as well as 99% of the consumer space in our sector. But I'll also tell you, people might also call our Prime Minister and our Union Minister, Minister of State audacious. I'm an electrical engineer from Stanford. I used to work in the nanofabrication lab and worked in Intel. When I see our ministers talking about silicon ingots, lithography, etching, and also going out there to tell the largest companies to make chips, semiconductors in India, they themselves are doing it. They're taking on that mission. So India is on the CHIPS mission. Well, similarly, in the mapping space, we believe at MapMy India, through our innovative ideas with Mapple's PIN, which is a 6-character unique digital code, and Aadhaar for places, which simplifies addressing, which simplifies logistics, geo governance or place governance. So just 6 characters to address any place, whether a mud hut or a villa. That's one. We've made metaverse maps, so not just 2-dimensional, but 3-dimensional, high definition. And you can see that on the Mapples portal, at mapples.com, the metaverse for this great venue. We provide APIs which are used by 2,000 enterprise customers, some of the largest companies, be it Apple, be it Amazon, be it Flipkart, even PhonePe, as well as Paytm, Grofers. But not just in the private sector. We work very actively with the government, thanks to the government embracing us, whether it was COVID, where our nearby vaccine center widget was embedded when the vaccine drive had to go live, or with the MyGov or Umang Super App, where MapIndia's APIs are used, or with Digital Sky, the drone regulatory platform of Government of India, CBDT, GSTN, to help increase tax collections based on geospatial analytics. MapIndia's wide variety of maps, SaaS, PaaS, APIs, technologies, IoT are used by all sorts of private sector and public sector organizations. We are focused on building the most advanced map and technology ecosystem for India, not just through ourselves, but our investments in breakthrough startups in the areas of ADAS, AR, IoT, and even high definition maps on autonomous or ADAS driving. So look forward to working with the ecosystem, working with the government, and hoping for more support the way it has been happening at a different level, where our consumer platform, our consumer app can also get the true stature, because India needs to have its own chips, its own OS, its own Play Store, its own platforms, its own apps. That will make us resilient. And at least from the mapping side, I can say that MapIndia is there to support the government of India and our great nation. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for sharing about your company. We appreciate it. Before calling the next speaker of the day, I request to keep their speeches short, crisp, and town-bound. I now welcome Mr. Varun Khaitan from Urban Company to kindly deliver his August address.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable ministers, officials from METI, my friends from the startup ecosystem, and ladies and gentlemen, absolute honor to be here on Digital India Week and share my and Urban Company's journey with all of you. We're a platform that provides personal and home services today across 50 cities in India. Looking at the lovely audience here, I'm sure many of you have got your haircuts and last beauty appointments from our app. I moved to India in the year 2014, leaving a very comfortable job in the US, with a dream that I will build a company that will improve lives of millions in urban India for the better. And over the last 8 years, my own journey and the journey of Urban Company has very, very closely mirrored the journey of Digital India. And almost nothing that we've achieved would have been possible without the growth and transformation that digital infrastructure in our country has seen. When we took on this mission of changing a very, very old industry, one that had not seen anything change in decades, and empower the millions of individual service professionals in our country who before us only earned minimum wages, There were lots of naysayers, lots of people who said that people of India, the professionals of India, will never change. But we believed in the power, the ambition, and the goodness of the people in our country. And today, there are over 50,000 individual service professionals on our platform who provide services to more than 50 lakh households every year. And they are all individual micro entrepreneurs. These are beauticians, electricians, AC technicians, painters, spa therapists, who were earlier employees working for a small business, making hardly making ends meet at 10, 15,000 rupees a month. And because of technology and platforms like ours, today a majority of them run their own business from their homes, and they earn over 30 to 35,000 rupees per month average. All of this was possible because of all the change that we've seen in the last 10 years around mobile internet and the applications built on top of it. When we started in 2014, almost none of the service professionals coming into our office would even have smartphones. But today, all of them not only have smartphones, but get trained on mobile internet that they use on their phones. They run their entire business and business banking on our mobile app. They purchase products that they use in delivering services at your home, whether it's cosmetics or spare parts from their mobile app. So we've been able to turn this one small device in their hands into an entire business platform that they use and are able to not only make ends meet, they are able to make things in their life happen, which once were only dreams. Our mission as a company is to empower and create over 1 million jobs in India in this decade. And we think we're well on our way to doing that thanks to the support that we get from everyone in this government and the skill ministry. Similar to the achievements you guys heard yesterday of technology and technology stack developed in India going outside, we are also taking our full stack service company now to many, many countries globally. We're already present in the Middle East, in Singapore, in Australia, and soon in North America as well. So technology that is being developed here is now at the forefront of the world and is being taken everywhere and adopted by countries in the developed world as well. I think everything that we spoke about yesterday and we are working towards as part of Digital India mission will play a very, very large role in realizing our prime ministers and our own country's mission of growing into a 5 trillion economy over the next 3 to 4 years, and soon a 10 trillion economy in the decade plus to come. And all of us as young tech entrepreneurs and members of this ecosystem are willing to join hands and do everything in our power to make this dream come together and make this dream possible. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience with us. I now welcome Ms. Ghazal Alag from Mama Earth for our August address. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. We are here celebrating the Digital India. How's the Josh? I'm Ghazal Alag from Mama Earth. हमने 5 साल पहले स्टार्ट किया था. We dreamt of being a company जो कि Indian traditional recipes को Indian audience के लिए create करना चाहती थी. But in 5 years, because of Digital India, I'm very proud to say that we've been able to service 10 million consumers across not just India, but globally. And we are now present in 20 plus countries. That has been possible purely because of this Digital India. You know, 5 saal pehle, I was a struggling mother who was not able to find safe, effective products for her babies. Wahan se aaj, getting this honor of being present on this stage with such amazing people, the government, and seeing their enthusiasm around building what we are building today. I think this is not just my story, but it's the journey of a whole new India. It's the journey of Indian consumers, of technology that has disrupted all verticals, and most importantly, it's the journey of entrepreneurship, which is giving the ability to this new India, to Bharat, to dream big and achieve their billion dreams that they are dreaming today. So, a big round of applause to all of us here. A special thanks to the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister. What he shared yesterday it gave me goosebumps at least. And the effective execution of our respected ministers here who are delivering so well to that vision. Digital India is no longer just a dream. I think we are beyond our dreams and we are trying to make it really big, and the world is going to see how we grow as a country. Now that I stand here today, बहुत छोटी सी मेरी list है. It's a few wishes that I want to see over the next decade, as we call it. मुझे नहीं लगता कि ये possible नहीं है या difficult है, especially after yesterday's session and the morning conversations that we had. I see us already doing a lot to achieve all of these points. First and foremost, I'm a big advocate of women in entrepreneurship and startup ecosystem. I wish to see more women. On this panel, we have some fierce ladies out here. We have some phenomenal women there. But can we have a big round of applause to having more women being a part of this ecosystem and driving the future goals? Second, I wish to see the next charge of startups and innovation to come not just from India alone, but from Bharat. And again, between yesterday and today, हमने सुना है कि tier 2, tier 3 and beyond cities से कितने entrepreneurs आ रहे हैं. I got the opportunity to be on Shark Tank, जहाँ it was humbling to see these people coming from small towns with big dreams, big ideas, and trying to make it to the next unicorn, to the next big company, and taking that entrepreneurship spirit global. So can I have a big round of applause for not just India, but for Bharat that's sitting out here? And last but not the least, I wish to see India become the third largest economy by GDP, beating Japan and Germany over the next 5 years. And this will lead all of us present here for that matter today. All of us and all of you guys are going to lead that charge. Can I have a big round of applause for all of us trying to make it big, not just in India, but globally, and taking this startup revolution forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for your august address. We appreciate it. तकनीकी पारिस्थितिकी तंत्र को गतिशील रूप से बढ़ाने और बनाए रखने के उद्देश्य से 750 करोड़ से अधिक के परिव्यय के साथ डिजिटल इंडिया जेनेसिस इनोवेटिव स्टार्टअप्स के लिए जेन नेक्स्ट सपोर्ट पर एक राष्ट्रीय डीप टेक स्टार्टअप प्लेटफॉर्म है, जिसे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी द्वारा कल लॉन्च किया गया था. इसी की एक छोटी सी झलक जो कल दिखाई गई थी, वो आज माननीय मंत्री महोदय की इजाजत से एक बार फिर आपके लिए हम प्रस्तुत करते हैं.
8 साल पहले स्टार्टअप मात्र एक शब्द था, लेकिन प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के दूरदर्शी विजन में शुरू हुए डिजिटल इंडिया ने इंडिया को बनाया दुनिया के सबसे बड़े स्टार्टअप हब में से एक. आज यहां हैं 70,000 प्लस स्टार्टअप्स, 103 यूनिकॉर्न्स.
टियर 2, टियर 3 सिटीज में भी नए नए स्टार्टअप बन रहे हैं. उनकी भारतीय प्रोडक्ट्स को अंतरराष्ट्रीय बाजार में जाने में बड़ी भूमिका भी है।
इन शहरों में भी स्टार्टअप्स की क्षमता को देखते हुए और उन्हें सफल बनाने के लिए डिजिटल इंडिया की पहल के तहत आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव पर लाया गया है डिजिटल इंडिया जेनेसिस, जो स्टार्टअप्स की अगली पीढ़ी को संपूर्ण सपोर्ट देगा। ये एक हाई इम्पैक्ट डिजिटली ड्रिवन नेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म होगा जो स्टार्टअप्स को इंक्यूबेशन, मेंटोरशिप, मार्केट एक्सेस के साथ साथ सीड फंडिंग की सुविधा को उपलब्ध कराएगा। 750 करोड़ से भी अधिक की धनराशि से 10,000 से भी ज्यादा स्टार्टअप्स को इंपैक्ट करते हुए डिजिटल इंडिया जेनेसिस $1 ट्रिलियन डिजिटल इकोनॉमी के लक्ष्य की दिशा में भारत सरकार का एक बड़ा कदम है।
We extend good wishes to all the startups of Bharat. Now, with utmost pleasure and respect, please help me welcome Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Honorable Union Minister of State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship and Electronic and IT, for his August address.
Good morning. Minister for Railways, Communication and IT, Ashwini Vaishnav ji, Secretary Alkesh Sharma ji, my colleagues at METI, startups from all over the country, and friends. First of all, let me thank all of you for being here in this first post-COVID Digital India Week 2022, the first time that we are meeting after several years. And this year we are recognizing, celebrating our Honorable Prime Minister's vision of India's decade and the goal of $1 trillion digital economy in this decade. Most importantly, your presence here signals Digital India's biggest achievement of transforming India's economic landscape and of creating more opportunities and putting young Indians in the driver's seat of the Indian economy and in particular, the Indian digital economy. And I start with this because this change is not trivial, because just a decade ago, I recall standing up in Parliament and raising this, spotlighting this huge dysfunctionality where 95% of the Indian banking system's net worth, 95% of the Indian banking system's net worth had been cornered by 9 groups, crowding out every young Indian, or at least most young Indians, their ideas of entrepreneurship from capital and opportunity. The last 8 years have been deeply transformative in many, many ways, in governance, in democracy, in economic development. And 7 years ago, and I mentioned this yesterday, as the inaugural ceremony which the Honorable Prime Minister presided over, that 7 years ago to the day, I was in the audience just like you are today, listening to our Honorable Prime Minister lay out his vision of Digital India. Having spent over more than 3 decades in technology, even I had no idea how far we would travel in these 7 years, how far we would have progressed, and how deep the transformation would be. But they have been transformational, and the stars on the stage, stars sitting today in the audience, are testimony to the deepness of that transformation and the opportunities that have been created in its wake. Your successes and your capabilities range from the India stack, UPI, internet consumer tech, electronics and semiconductors, the Web 3.0, Industry 4.0, AI, high performance computing. And these capabilities, these areas of leadership and entrepreneurship are increasingly defining New India. Let me just share with you what a privilege it is to be a minister of startups, a minister who has the privilege of engaging with young startups such as yourself on a day in, day out basis. In a recent meeting in the UK, I had the privilege of accompanying over 50 startups. I was one minister of state representing the government of India, and there were these 50 rock stars. And 7 ministers of the government of UK showed up. Of course, I fooled myself into believing they were coming to meet me, but of course they were not. They were coming to meet the 50 startups. Starting with the Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the Chancellor of the Exchequer Rishi Sunak, the Home Secretary, the Trade Secretary, the Health Secretary, the Digital Economy Secretary. Everyone in that government wanted to meet with, understand the successes, and as they frankly admitted at the end, recreate those successes in India, in the UK. And in a banter, in a conversation, the Chancellor of the Exchequer said, no, India and UK are neck to neck now in innovation and startups. And I had to politely tell him that maybe he hadn't read the memo, but India is far ahead now of the UK and Europe in innovation and ecosystem, in the innovation ecosystem, as represented by the 50 startups who were with me. Look, I won't speak very much more. This is really your day. This is for you to spend time in discussing the roadmap for the future, but I will share some thoughts with you. Surely that would be, I hope, helpful. We are at an inflection point, and I think it was mentioned on the stage that we are at a cusp. It is truly an inflection point for us as a nation, for you as startups, for our digital economy as a whole. And the inflection point is caused by an intersection of many things happening that I would like to lay out in front of you. A, the rate at which the world is digitizing is increasing, and it will only increase faster. B, our ambitions have been reimagined, our capabilities are growing. As the Prime Minister said yesterday, he is opening out, our government is opening out opportunities in across the board, from space to electronics, from semiconductor to artificial intelligence. That's the second. And third, the nation today is working to make sure the skills that are required in the India's decade are being developed. The internet, the data sets, the data centers, the 3 raw materials for innovation ecosystem are all being put into place. As you know, we are 800 million Indians connected today, and in 3 years' time, through a combination of 5G and BharatNet, we would have 1 billion plus Indians all connected, making us the largest connected nation in the world and the largest connected piece of the internet. Our goals are very clear at METI. We want to expand entrepreneurship and startups in the tier 2, tier 3 cities. In 2014, when the Honorable Prime Minister came to office, technology opportunities were limited to these 4 cities of Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Gurugram. And today we are talking about technology in minimum of 25 cities and even more. Digital India, through the ministry and through its various programs, including Genesis, will not just support the growth, but will also engage with startups to be a bridge between government's own technology requirements and technology solution requirements and the startup and innovation ecosystem, with formal pitch sessions to PSEs and public sector units and state governments. Let me end by sharing something that somebody told me recently. It was not me that did it. I just want to be very clear. I'm reliably told that on shadi.com, reliably told by somebody else, that the keyword that now is searched for most often is not IAS, is not IPS, is not a Tata company, not a Birla company. It is startup employee or a startup founder. So what better judge of what is a successful career than shadi.com? Again, let me end by saying we are the cusp of something very big for India. India's decade will be the decade when the tip of this iceberg will morph into the full potential of technology for India. And at our ministry, I can assure you that to every man and woman in our team, we will be committed to enable, support, and cheerlead your growth and success. I wish you all the best. Jai Hind. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, sir, for your enlightening speech. We appreciate it. Now, with utmost respect and pleasure, please help me welcome Shri Ashwini Vaishnav, sir, Honorable Union Minister for Railways, Communication, Electronic and IT, for his August address.
I will pick up from where my colleague Shri Chandrasekhar ji left. He gave the example of shadi.com. While sitting on the dais, I had a small observation. 10 years back, was it possible to see a joint secretary giving a bouquet to a startup leader? Impossible. The change which has happened in the last 8 years, this is a very good reflection of that change. It was always the government as the mighty lord, top of the food chain. The world has changed, and that's the change which reflects the spirit of Digital India. My very esteemed colleague, Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji, the Secretary of MeitY, Mr. Alkesh Sharma ji, the colleagues from Startup World. I won't take individual names, although I wanted to take each dignitary's name. Friends of the dais, when the Startup India program happened, like my colleague Rajiv ji, I was also sitting in the audience. I was amazed at the vision that Prime Minister painted that day. A lot of people in the audience were quite skeptical. People were thinking that, can it really happen? This kind of vision, it's okay, that kind of thing can happen in US, that kind of thing can probably happen in Europe. Can it happen in India? Is Startup India just a slogan? And our opposition, that we are political animals, pardon us for putting that bit of element in this speech. Our political opponents always, they again and again, they would say that no, this is just a jumla, this will not happen. See the change which has happened. 100 plus unicorns, 70,000 plus startups. What Rajiv ji just said about UK, exactly the same conversation every part of the world, when I and he, when we talk to our counterparts across the world, each and every digital affairs minister or IT minister or telecom minister in the world, the first question they ask us is, how did you guys do this? How did you guys create this kind of startup ecosystem in such a short time? There are other countries which have taken decades to reach this level. How did you people reach this level in such a short time? And our answer is always, it's the energy of our startups, it's the enthusiasm of our entrepreneurs, it's the clear vision of our government, and it's the development of this complete ecosystem which has helped us reach this journey. But my friends, this is just the first part of the journey. It's a 1,000-mile journey, and we have taken the first step. It's a great first step. We must celebrate it, but we have to take many, many, many more steps. And that's why, for one, we have consolidated all the different initiatives which were happening as a part of supporting the startup ecosystem into one program, the Genesis Digital India Genesis program. Genesis, like many things that we like to do, is an acronym. I won't go into the full form, but the point here is that we would like this to become your gateway to various different support systems, which include mentors, funds, your pitching partners, and your gateway to various government programs also. For example, can this program give you access into some of the sectors, government sectors, which have very large scale? Railways, 1.2 million people. Imagine the plight of when yours truly, when the performance appraisal happens every year, post 4 lakh people, 400,000 people, these humongous organizations which can provide you a scale where many countries, even if they try to reach out their entire population, would struggle to get that kind of scale. Genesis will be your gateway to such sectors. For example, recently, as a part of this whole startup ecosystem, Railways has announced a support program for startups in which 11 problem statements have been uploaded. Now, what are these problem statements? Things like, how do you accurately monitor the health of the tracks? Or stuff like, can you develop a better elastomer pad? Like, so to make it simple, if there is a wagon which is sitting on wheels, between the wagon and the wheel, there is a cushion. Can you design a better cushion which lasts for at least 3 times more hours or kilometers compared to the existing one? Or a wagon which is carrying salt, the weight of the wagon is actually more than the salt that it carries. Can you design a better wagon so that you can carry more salt rather than carrying more steel on rails? All kinds of problems which are conventional economy but can be done in a better way using new technologies, or AI based, data based, image based, sensors based. For example, can you give us a solution where about 80,000 traction motors which are rolling the wheels of the trains, you can actually check the health of those traction motors and tell the maintenance guys that, okay, this is a motor which is going to have a heart attack soon. Come, it has some temperature issues. Can we solve it in advance? So ranging from conventional brick and mortar to really deep tech problems are out there. Participate. Almost 150 odd startups have already participated. The support that we will be providing the startups and the solution providers will be a consistent support, not just we lay out the problem statement and you come and give the solution, then we clap. No, it will be a consistent support where we provide you 50% of the cost of the solution, pari passu based. As you get your cost, we support you in equal amount, and then up to 4 years, we will provide you the basic orders so that you can build your business and give you that vast scale of solution which you can then take to the world, because that kind of scale will be very difficult to get in any other geography. Same thing in the postal bank, be a partner of that. Recently, I think about 90 odd startups have joined that journey. Be a partner in the telecom startup fund. Again, we will support you up to 5 crore rupees for developing your solutions, whether it is in radio, whether it is in the NMS, any part of that ecosystem, come and be part of that. Same thing in defense. I think by now, more than about 70, 80 new companies have got created because of the opportunity that defense ministry provided to the startups. Same in BSF, recently advanced detection of a drone which might intrude from other side of the border. So those kind of sectors will be opened for you through the Genesis program. So that's the second point I wanted to make. And the third point, and third and last point, I'll like to make an appeal to all of you. One big challenge where you can really help is in supporting the MSMEs. I'm sure my friend just now said, lots of things are happening. Government is also putting in a lot of efforts. Can we come up with a credit solution for MSMEs? That should be a challenge we should all take. Something, a solution where, like Swanidhi program, very short time with minimal paperwork, can we provide a good credit solution to the MSMEs? That is first challenge, first appeal I would like to make. Can we take UPI to the world? Already 3 countries have signed up, but can we take it to such a large scale, because this is a fabulous solution, this is an amazing solution. Can we take it to the world in a very big way? All the companies working in fintech, consumer, I'll request all of you to look at it, see how you can make your efforts to take it to the world. Can we expand ONDC, the Open Network for Digital Commerce, to make it the next UPI? So I'll appeal to all of you to take a serious look at it, especially the people in the e-commerce fields. Look at it, the people who are facing consumers, people who are looking at B2B solutions. Look at ONDC, see how it can be a great platform. We believe that this can be the next UPI. So look at it, see how you can leverage it for your business. Fourth, can we use the next public digital platform, the health platform, digital health mission, to become, that can be another UPI for us. And the scale can be phenomenal. The range of solutions can again be phenomenal. See that, use that, and create new solutions with that. And the last appeal is about Bhashini. We are very, very passionate about Indian languages. We in the government really, really respect. I remember in one of the internal meetings a few weeks back, Prime Minister said that Tamil is the mother of all languages. Why shouldn't we have a solution where Tamil can be understood by somebody who was never even exposed to Tamil? So that kind of love that we have for our languages, for all the Indian languages, Bhashini has been created with that vision. Bhashini has been created with a vision by which people speaking any language can be connected with people speaking any other language. And languages are beyond geographical or political boundaries. We do believe that Bhashini, which has been created today for Indian languages, will become a platform, global platform for all other languages in the world. So come, take a look at it, use it, create new solutions, and take it to a new level. With these 3 points, that we are getting into a new world, be a part of this journey. Second, use Genesis as your gateway to multiple forums. And third, the 5 appeals. I wish you all the very best. Look forward to another very, very exciting journey, a decade which will be led by technology, the decade of India. Thank you.
We thank you, Honorable Minister, sir, for your informative and stimulating speech. Now, as a matter of gesture and thank you note, we would like to present mementos to our esteemed dignitaries on the dais. Foremost, I would like to request Shri Alkesh Kumar Sharma, Secretary, MeitY, to kindly present the memento to Shri Ashwini Vaishnav, Honorable Union Minister of Railways, Communication, Electronics and IT. Thank you, sir. I now request Shri Alkesh Kumar, sir, to kindly present the memento to Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar, Honorable Minister for State, to Skills, Development and Entrepreneurship and Electronics and IT. Thank you. I now request Shri Bhuvnesh Kumar, Joint Secretary MeitY, to present a memento to Shri Alkesh Kumar Sharma, Secretary MeitY. Thank you. I request Shri Bhuvnesh Kumar to present the memento to Mr. Varun Khaitan, Urban Company. I now request Shri Bhuvnesh Kumar to kindly present the memento to Mr. Anil Sharma, TCS. I now request Shri Bhuvnesh Kumar to kindly present the memento to Ms. Sonia Swarup Choksi, Match My Talent. Thank you very much. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar, DG, STPI, to kindly present the memento to Ms. Ghazal Alag, Mama Earth. Thank you. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar to kindly present the memento to Mr. Rohan Verma, Map My India. Thank you. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar to present the memento to Mr. Srinath Ramkrishnan, Zetwerk. Thank you. I now request Shri Arvind Kumar to present the memento to Ms. Divya Shetty, Circle X. Thank you, everyone. अब मैं धन्यवाद प्रस्ताव देने के लिए श्री अरविंद कुमार, DG, STPI से नम्र निवेदन करती हूँ.
Good morning. Honorable Union Minister for Railways, Communication, Electronics and IT, Shri Ashwini Vaishnav ji. Honorable Union Minister of State for Skill Development, Entrepreneurship, Electronics and IT, Shri Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji. Secretary to Government of India in Ministry of Electronics and IT, Shri Alkesh Sharma ji. Other dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, senior government official from Gujarat government, central government, experts, innovators, academicians, representative from media, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to propose vote of thanks after such an important inaugural session. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Minister who has agreed to come for this meeting, even having a very busy schedule. This whole conference was not possible without his guidance. Sir, we will all follow the appeals you have already made to all of us, sir. I would also like to thank Sri Rajiv Chandrasekhar ji. He is a man of technology. His passion is technology. Whenever you go in his room, you always come with some idea on technology. And this is all his effort. We were able to meet here and able to hold this conference. It was not also possible without minute-to-minute observation on our program of our Secretary, Sri Alkesh Sharma ji. Sir, thank you very much to everybody. I would also like to thank all officials of Gujarat government as a whole. They have provided, extended all types of the support for all of us. That is why we were able to organize this event. As everybody says, it gives great pleasure when our startup says that our product is being globally sold. We have so many global customers. When some startup says it is first of its kind, initially it was on paper, now it is me who is able to make it electronically. When somebody says that we have done so much so in this space, this gives all pleasures to all of us. In fact, yesterday when Mr. was saying that now in place of technology consumer, we have become technology producer. Our innovators, our experts has proven this by fact that yes, now we are not only the technology consumer, but we are big technology producer. Once I thank everybody who has made this event successful for all of us. I would also like to thank media for this. Thank you very much. Thank you for.
Thank you so much, sir, for your warm, thankful note. And with this, we come to the end of the inaugural session of the day. And we, one more time, thank all the esteemed dignitaries on the dais, especially the ministers and the guests and the speakers of the inaugural session. To all the august guests present in the house, we request you to take up a tea and coffee break of just 15 minutes. We shall assemble over here for the first technical session on India's vibrant startup ecosystem continuing its growth. Thank you very much. Do not be late as we have a day-long session which is going to be fruitful to one and many. Thank you. We shall start the event sharp at 12, so do not be late. Come back soon. Thank you.
Check.
My personal vision of what can happen in the country suddenly shot up 10 times, saying this country now provides, not on theory, but having done it for the last 2 years, consumers actually and businesses scaled in a very, very trying situation. And all that would not have happened if the inherent India stack, for instance, was not there. However, what is perhaps not known in the four elements is what is the scale right now. We know that some of the companies are going international and have achieved dominance in the market space. We have some of those companies here today. We have Zetwork, we have Mama Earth, we have Map My India. Many of these companies are achieving dominance and reaching out to every nook and corner of the country. First Cry is now the largest baby care company in the world. Lenskart, now with the new acquisition in Japan, is the second largest company in the world. So the audaciousness of the thinking of becoming not only dominant in the country and scale in the country, which India provides, has transformed itself to these companies and entrepreneurs thinking that, look, let's be leaders in the world. And I think that's happening right now. And I'll give you proof points. If you look at the revenue, now a lot has been spoken about valuations. I am excited about valuations, but they keep going up and down. And as many of our colleagues would know here. But valuations is an outcome. What is manageable is revenue and financial performance. We did some research, and we have data till 2021 March. The revenue of all technology startups in that year was $20 billion. This grew from $4.5 billion in 2007. That's a 34% CAGR. But what happened subsequently was very interesting, that growth patterns of revenue started growing at 50% per annum. Why did this happen? It happened because there's an inherent infrastructure which is working at scale. It also happened because in technology, larger companies tend to grow, in many cases, faster. It's faster. In the old world, we used to say, hey, let's scale down the 30% growth to 15%. But many larger companies in our own portfolio we've seen are growing at the same pace or maybe a tad faster, either due to organic reasons or due to M&A. Mind you, we also did something interesting and say, hey, how will this look up in the next 5 years? In the next 5 years, we expect this and new companies which are coming in the startup ecosystem in technology to reach a revenue scale of anywhere between 150 to $200 billion. This is all Indian startup. This does not include Amazons of the world or Flipkarts who are owned by outsiders right now. And this does not include companies which are structured outside the country. This is all based in India. Mind you, this startup ecosystem, humongous scale of close to $200 billion in the next 5 to 6 years, does not include software services. Software services, which was last year $237 billion, is likely to scale to $350 billion in a 5 to 6 year time frame, which is also the second part of the Digital India. The electronics component, as Minister said yesterday, is looking at $75 billion, and that is targeted at $350 billion. So we are talking, and I also believe that UPI is now going international, and between yesterday and today we did some quick math. It can touch in the next 5 to 7 years a 200 billion revenue, because if it goes to just 10 large economies in the world, every pie of that transaction, small pie, comes to UPI. We're talking about a $200 billion company, which is valued at a humongous level. So, what is digital economy without defense right now. We are looking at a 1 trillion revenue in 2027 to 28 timeframes. And out of that, two sectors are performing with solid engines. Electronics hopefully will perform. I think it will with all the government incentives and backing overall. A trillion revenue is not something to be scoffed at, whatever the valuation. New tech economy or digital economy is about new business models, new revenue models, new products, new technology, new go-to-markets, and also discovering new markets. And yesterday, 5 years ago, this used to be for investors like us, possibly in an odd situation. Today, we are seeing entrepreneurial organizations chugging along rapidly, where a bulk of these are now met. That means all these criteria are in an and situation, innovation, agility on all these criteria. And that's the fueling which is happening in the country. The question to me asked many times is which sectors are going to now perform? And my answer is always, India is not about one sector at a time. There'll be phases when some sectors will go, some sectors will not come up. That's fine. It's about every tech. Every sector is growing rapidly. We are looking at now companies, not just unicorns, we are looking at companies achieving 1 billion revenue each. I have seen those companies targeting and entrepreneurs targeting. It's our estimate that in the next 5 years, there'll be at least 25 companies who reached 1 billion revenues each. This is from domestic market and international market. Capital plays an important part. In the last 7 years, India has invested $150 billion worth of capital. We expect, in spite of the slowdowns, somewhere between 7 to 10% increase in capital investments from venture investors, angels, and private equity to come into India. With some policy changes, this could touch 400 billion plus. That's humongous. These companies are not just serving a financial purpose. These companies are serving something which is very valuable to society and business. We are looking at agriculture, where problems are being solved by technology. In our own portfolio, we have reached out to, now our companies are serving 3.5 million farmers in the country overall. And that applies to numbers in healthcare, numbers in greenhouse gas emissions. So, in fact, we took out an impact report, the third one just recently, enabling that these are very, very important factors. Any company who becomes critical to society and business as they perform their financial functions very nicely is likely to also stay longer, 25 years, 50 years, and perform well. I end this talk with a quote from Lenin, perhaps the wrong guy to quote right now. He mentioned after the war that there are times when decades go by in days, and there are days when decades go by. India is today at a stage when there are days when decades are now being traversed. And that's due to digital transformation of the country, the startup ecosystem, what we see today, and the massive scale. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable insights. We appreciate it. I now move towards the moderator of the panel discussion, Mr. Prem Bhartasarthi, Pontoc Ventures India LLP. Over to you, sir, for the panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. Members of the dais, good to be here, and thanks to the Government of India for giving us the opportunity. I'm Prem Bhatsar, the managing partner of Pontac. We are a venture capital fund, but we ourselves are a startup. We started off without no background to venture capital. That was about 7 or 8 years ago. And when I saw the title, India's Vibrant Startup Ecosystem, I also believed I'm also part of that because we also started as a startup. Having said all of that, so just on a quick note, to recap some of these startup stories that we have seen personally. We ventured into India back end of last year since January, we've invested about 65 companies across India. And we spoke about the IP and the startup ecosystem across the country. Interestingly, these 65 companies have come from 23 states across India. That's a very pleasing number to look at, and from tier 2 and tier 3 predominantly. And what is also interesting is the number of jobs that these companies have cumulatively created thus far and will continue to do, which is roughly about 1,500 at the moment, and also about 30 plus patents within them. And one interesting story, data point as well, is that 40% of these startups from across the country are women-founded and co-founded companies. So that's something that we all need to be incredibly proud of. So on that note, when the honorable ministers were speaking this morning, they were saying we are at the inflection point. 70,000 plus startups, 700,000 jobs, more than $335 billion in market cap. If that is the inflection point, then what is the next wave and where is it coming from? Vineet.
Thank you so much. Just a quick introduction. My name is Vineet. Grew up, born, brought up in Jaipur, studied at IIT Bombay, running a startup called DealShare. DealShare is really enabling mass market consumers, middle income, lower income population across all tiers of cities, but mostly focused on tier 2, tier 3 cities with the essentials. So we are largely focused on grocery plus, right?